Welcome to the Tech Blog Writer Podcast, your guide to future tech trends and innovation in a language you understand. Now, over to your host, Neil Hughes.
A big warm welcome back to the Tech Blog Writer Podcast. Now, last year, Real Madrid was named the fastest growing sports brand in the entire world because they generated an incredible 1.6 billion video views. But Real Madrid also celebrated an unprecedented off-field victory too by taking the El Clásico Facebook crown after beating Barcelona to become the first football club in the world to reach 100 million followers on Facebook. The biggest football club in the world achieved this by teaming up with the leading sports digital strategy and tech venture firm Real Ventures. And they also worked alongside Zuckerberg's Facebook too, all to help reach that 100 million fan milestone. Now, with a combination of a well-crafted strategy, the passion of Real Madrid fans, the support of the players, legends and celebrities, combined, this all helped them storm past Barcelona in the final moments. This campaign was one of the most dramatic and widely viewed in social media history, and it generated over 580 million earned social media impressions right across the globe. And thanks to wizardry of technology today, we're going to be speaking with Craig Howe from Real Ventures, he's the CEO based in the US, and Raffael de los Santos, he's the global head of digital at Real Madrid, and he's waiting for us in Madrid too. So buckle up, hold on tight, because I'm somehow going to beam your ears all the way to the UK, Madrid and the US, all in one conversation. What could possibly go wrong? So a big warm welcome to the show, guys. Can you tell the listeners a little about yourselves and what you do?
All right, I'll start. I'm Rafa de los Santos. I'm the person responsible for the digital department at Real Madrid. I have been working for Real Madrid for the past 5 years. Before that, I used to work for a media company called Prisa, and also for Microsoft, and my first job was at Amadeus.
Hey there, this is Craig Howe. I'm the CEO and founder of Real Ventures. We are a sports digital strategy consulting firm that works with teams all around the world to help them transform digital from a cost center to a revenue center. I think at this point we've worked with roughly 35 different organizations. Real Madrid obviously is our primary client. We've worked with Liverpool and Wimbledon in the UK, the NBA as a league, 12 NBA teams, 7 NFL teams, and several other organizations across the globe. My background is I spent 12 years as a brand marketer, working mostly in sports and entertainment. Worked on things such as Fast and Furious and the Hulk and the video game side. Then I built and sold a digital agency, and then I was on the board of a company called Snappy TV, which became Twitter Amplify Video. And I really started this company out of pure passion. I'm a huge sports fan, and I don't feel like I work every day. I just feel like I'm doing what I love, which is the way it probably should be.
You and me both, my friend. Now, I think your story is a fantastic lesson on how to do the digital transformation right. And I think so many people could learn from following exactly what you've done. But before we look into those phenomenal results you have achieved together, I have to ask where it all began and why did one of the biggest clubs in the world join forces with Real Ventures?
This was probably a little bit after I joined the club, and everything was organized in a different way. Yeah. So we were trying to put everything in a way that makes sense and everything under the same umbrella. One of the things that we needed to kind of like bring together was all the social channels that we had at that time. So I remember the first time I met with Craig was in a conference that we attended in London. There we had a long conversation about the things that I was thinking on doing and the things that he had in mind that we should be doing. And everything seems to be pretty much aligned. So for the first time we had a long conversation. Then we got together again back in New York, where we had a meeting, and Craig flew over from LA to New York, and we had the chance to meet with our CEO and also with our deputy manager, Begonia. We exchanged some of the ideas that we had, and then the next thing is that for the next season, we started to work together as a team. So this is a little bit of the short story about how we met and how we began working together.
Excellent. Now, back in March, another memorable match was being played between Real Madrid and FC Barcelona. But this game did not take place on a football pitch. Thanks to the well-crafted strategy, the passion of Real Madrid fans, and the support of the Real Madrid players, legends and celebrities, you stormed past Barca in the final moments to become the first sporting club to reach 100 million fans on Facebook. That campaign was one of the most dramatic and widely viewed in social media history, and it generated over 580 million social media impressions across the globe. Now, those stats are just insane, but can you tell me a little more about the campaign and how you begin to approach something like that?
Well, Neil, the reality is that this was not something that occurred during that crazy week.
Yeah.
This was something that, if we look back when we won our 11th Champions League against Atletico de Madrid in Milan, I had a conversation with Craig and with Alejandro, which is the guy that we have at Real Madrid that is looking after social media. And I put in the table the possibility that we have to reach that magical number in first place. We knew that Barca was taking a little bit of advantage. That was the case for a long, long time. They've been ahead of us in Facebook and in other networks. And we knew that we had a chance if we also have a good year like the one that we had, and if we also take advantage of winning this 11th Champions League. So we got together, we began working on a strategy. To be honest with you, we were thinking that based on the games, based on the trophies that we were winning, based on our players, we were going to reach this number sometime at the end of this summer. But the reality is that we saw throughout the year that everything was going crazy and everything was increasing very, very, very rapidly. And we find ourselves in a moment that it was a crazy week where we have to speed everything up. And it was an amazing experience. All I can tell you is that every time I think about that time, a big smile appears in my face, because it was such a great moment and such a great experience. Everything worked out just perfectly. The team worked very well. The connection that we have with the first team, with the players, with the celebrities, with all the activities that took place, the way we took advantage of the people that we know and the people that we have in our digital platform. The different things that we did in order to run the campaigns, the way we worked with Facebook and also with the agency that we were working at that time, it was just amazing, and everything worked out fine, because we were able to surpass and take over Barcelona and then reach the 100 million as the very first brand in the world to hit that number.
I would just say the one thing I would add to what Rafa just said is that, we had enough time. And something like this doesn't, like Rafa said, it doesn't happen in 1 week. Yeah. Although the last 48 hours of this campaign was insane, and I don't think any of us slept more than 3 hours over that 48-hour period. We had a lot of time to pull together a comprehensive plan. And what I think really worked for us over the long term to make this happen was a geo-targeted organic strategy for content and growth. 97% of Real Madrid's fan base on Facebook is outside of Spain. So we really took advantage of celebrating big player and team moments and also acknowledging regional holidays, because we have lots of fans in countries like India, North Africa, Brazil. And oddly enough, Cristiano Ronaldo's birthday, we did a lot of geo-targeted activities around that. We gained almost 500,000 fans on Facebook in 48 hours just by celebrating his birthday through some organic content. So it was definitely something that we were adjusting on a daily basis that happened over a period of many months. So it wasn't, it wasn't an overnight success.
There never is an overnight success, is there? People only see that end result. I also read a great quote from you guys, I think, where you said Ronaldo has more followers on Twitter than countries have inhabitants, which is so true. But I mean, did the support of Real Madrid players, legends, celebrities and influencers such as Rafael, Nadal, Beckham, Ronaldo all play that big part in the campaign too?
Well, of course they did. And I think that the success of that very moment, which was the 48 hours, 72 hours that Craig was talking and mentioning before, was the fact that we were able to go from one celebrity to another, and it was everything very, very smooth and very, very quick. So we were getting the most out of every single post that we were doing through these celebrities. Then is when you realize the power of Real Madrid and how big the brand is and how big the support for the brand is on the big celebrities. I remember myself talking to Cristiano's agent, but we were talking to some of the people at the club that were calling to Rafa Nadal, we were calling to Fernando Alonso, we were calling to, I don't want to leave any of the names out, but sure, we were reaching out to so many people that they were so famous. And this together with the faith that we had during all those 72 hours that we could potentially beat Barca at the very end, kept us going and trying and reaching people and reaching out people. And then it was a combination of little things when we were doing the campaigns, such as, for instance, Barca did a campaign about bringing people to the game that they had against Juve. And we were doing the very same campaign, but instead of doing it through tickets for bringing people to the game, we were doing it using a signed jersey, which we know it makes a difference for the people that doesn't live close to Madrid and close to the stadium. And that gave us so many new followers that was just impressive. So all that combined and the way that we were doing things and the way that we were having all the team working on seeing who was posting what and then telling this to the agency so we can boost that post and reach more people was just amazing. And of course, as I was mentioning before, the level of exposure and the people that we can reach out and talk and ask to get them have a post for us and for the people to follow Real Madrid was just amazing. Kaká, Beckham, Rafa Nadal, Alonso, and Julio Iglesias, Enrique Iglesias. It was just amazing.
Well, Neil, one of the things that amazed me as sort of the outsider that's a part of this team was how the entire club came together around this campaign when they found out that it was going on. And that goes not only from the players, but to the CEO of the club, Jose Angel Sanchez, who was actively involved in enlisting involvement from players and celebrities nonstop over a 72-hour period. He was in the WhatsApp group, sometimes at 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning, doing everything he could, calling people in America and other time zones to get them involved. It was really amazing to see the entire club come together, knowing that, we had labeled this the digital Clásico way before we even knew what the final result would be. And I think that's kind of the spirit of Real Madrid is, keep on fighting until the very end. And that was what was so fun about being a part of this campaign.
Absolutely. It's funny you say that. I was just about to say that it really does seem that you haven't got a team of individuals and influencers there. You've got like this dream team where you all work together and you've all pulled your resources together and moved forward together. And I think that's the beautiful thing. But also, did you also directly enlist the help of Facebook too? I mean, what part did they play in this fantastic campaign? And did you already have a relationship with them, or was that something you had to build from the beginning?
No. Actually, we've been talking with Facebook from the very beginning, and I can tell you that you can see how Real Madrid as a club is been growing on the digital channels. Yeah. But you can also see from the very beginning how Facebook is been growing as a company in sports, and what is the attention that they pay to sports like soccer. In this case, we've been talking with Facebook. I remember talking with Facebook from the very beginning when I first joined the club. We had an account for a long time in Facebook, as you can imagine, And we have seen how the organization has been growing, and we've been changing the people that we've been talking to. And every time we talk to a new person, is a person that is more dedicated to the kind of activity that we do. So at the beginning, we spoke with the Facebook people, then we spoke with the Facebook people that was looking after sports, and now we're talking to the Facebook people that is looking after soccer. And to be honest with you, in all this, I like to pinpoint Robert Rodriguez as a key pillar of the success that we have, because of all the good advice that he gave us, because of all the good best practices that he shared with us. I can tell you that every single one of the things that he told us had a really good impact on this quote-unquote race that we had. So this is something that, as you were mentioning at the beginning, is something that doesn't happen from one day to another. This is the result of a long-lasting relationship that we've been having with Facebook in the past 5 years.
So when you have players such as Ronaldo with more followers than inhabitants of entire nations, is there any form of like social media policy at Real Madrid to ensure that some footballers don't overshare controversial opinions or wild antics off the pitch? Is there any such thing as bad publicity? I
will use a Spanish expression in English, which maybe doesn't make any sense, but I will try. It's like putting fences in the yard. It's very, very difficult. Is in the country, is putting fences in the country. It's very, very difficult because that the players sometimes they do things. They want to use their social networks. They want to build a brand. They want to say what they want. They want to show what they do, and sometimes it's very difficult for us to try to manage that. Yeah. In some cases, I would tell you it's impossible because their social media space is huge, like the case of Ronaldo. In some other cases, they ask how they can do certain things, and we try to give them advice. And this is something that we see that every year we are gaining some of the credibility that we have inside, and more the players are coming to us to request some of the content that they can post. They're coming to us to request to share some of the practices, some of the best practices with them, and more we are a part of the strategy that they follow. For us, one of the things that we want to do for next year is to make sure that we have different levels within the team. So we take our younger players to be in a certain level of exposure within on the followers that they have, and we get them into the levels that we believe are the right levels for a person or a player that belongs to Real Madrid or plays for Real Madrid. And this is something that every year we're becoming more efficient on doing, and we are kind of like trying to do a little bit more about the things that we can add and contribute to the players.
Now, one other question that I've got to ask, especially as you're a Real Madrid man, I think I know what the answer is going to be, but did beating Barcelona to 100 million fans around the world make that victory even sweeter?
Yes. I mean, I could say I could go for just be the political answer, but for us, is the biggest. We've been playing in the States now, and we had this game in Miami, and the game was being broadcast as the biggest rivalry in the world, and I truly think is the biggest one in the world of sports. So I can tell you that beating Barca and the way we did it, which is pretty much in our heritage, to fight until the very, very end, and know that every second counts and something magic can happen in the very last second, and doing it the very same way we do sometimes in the field was double pressure for us.
I could say, Neil, that we've had the fortune of working with teams all over the world and leagues all over the world. There's nothing like Real Madrid and Barcelona. It's the biggest rivalry in the world. My favorite moment, Rafa referenced the Clásico last week in Miami. There was a quote from Gareth Bale that said there's no such thing as a friendly between Real Madrid and Barcelona. And I think that you couldn't be more accurate. I think that extends to digital as well. Obviously, we have no bad blood with the digital team at Barcelona, but we want to beat them every single way possible. at all times.
Excellent. I did see that game in Miami as well. It's a phenomenal. The football skills on display there. It was almost like, I don't know, it's like an exhibition of skills. It's just, I'm a Derby County fan. They don't play like that, the team that I watch, let me tell you. So when clubs purchase big stars, many will also point to replica shirt sales and how it will boost brand awareness around the world. Do you think that the power of online influence is also a big plus point for clubs now when they're buying a new player?
Well, to be honest with you, I think that at the end of the day, what we buy is players, and what we want is players that are good and they can play well and they can win titles for Real Madrid. That is the reality. It is true that at the end of the day, when you look on the players, you really, without wanting to do so, but you look at what is the exposure that we have, what is the brand that they have, and obviously on the brand, which is something that is very important for Real Madrid, the marketing side of things. Obviously, the biggest, the social media audience that they have is the better brand they have. So this is something that, as I was saying before, is something that we look into it. And we also take a look at the possibility that we have to help that player to become big when they join Real Madrid. We see players coming to Real Madrid and all of a sudden they become the biggest players in social media. I'll give you an example. If you take our second keeper, he has more followers than all the keepers from La Liga together. So this is how important this is for Real Madrid.
Now, as I'm UK based, I've got to ask, this is probably more for Craig. Are you noticing any Premier League clubs starting to take digital seriously? Because I think you hinted that Liverpool are working with you at the moment. Is that right?
Yeah, I mean, we've definitely done some work with Liverpool for a long time. But I would say that at this point, every club is taking digital seriously. And I think with the new Premier League broadcast deal, this is one area where all the clubs are really investing. And you know, the thing that's interesting to me, I mean, I don't think there's any two clubs in the world that are doing digital the same way. They all have different leadership. They all have different staffing. They have different priorities, a different approach. And it's really interesting for us to see how every team has a unique strategy based on their perceived strengths and weaknesses. So I don't necessarily think that there's any one club that's doing digital better than that many others. I think it's just a mad scramble to figure out what the best digital strategy is for that club. And I know that, you know, Rafa obviously has been spending many years trying to refine it. You know, and all the clubs in the Premier League are doing the same thing right now. Even Brighton, a club like Brighton that just got called up, I'm sure that they're trying to figure out what is the difference between, you know, digital now that we're in the Premier League as opposed to the second division.
So finally, I've got to ask, now that you've achieved your goal of 100 million fans and 580 million well-earned social media impressions across the globe, where do you go from here? I mean, what is next? How can you follow up an emphatic victory like that?
What is next? I guess the easy one is to say, well, the next is 200 million. But to be honest with you, one of the things that we see is that a big shift on the audience that is following the club has occurred in the past 5 years, I would say. So now the majority of the people that is following the club, they do and they do it and they connect with the club through social media. So what we're trying to do is just to build the experience in a way that we are closer to our fans, that we put our fans right in the middle of everything, and that we generate and we have the ability to engage with them as much as possible. Nowadays, I can tell you that engagement is a big word, and it's also one of our key targets that we have. And this is what we've been trying to do. Every time we do something, we are looking at the possibilities that we have to engage with these people. The reason why we want to engage with these people is because we know that this is the way of becoming even bigger and more relevant. And the more relevant we are, the more money we make. The more money we make, the better players we buy. The better players we buy, the more we win, which is basically everything that we want to do that's our ultimate goal. So this is something that is a very good question. So obviously we have some ideas. Some of them are very, very strategic. We're thinking about doing things that we will see how it works. We are really looking into enhancing the kind of content that we produce, and with all these things together, we just want to become bigger and bigger.
I would add one thing to that, and that's that every time I walk into the Real Madrid office, there's a real emphasis on excellence and performance. And I feel like every time you walk in there, you know that Rafa or Begonia is going to come up to you and say, what's next? How are we doing here? How are we improving? How are we getting better? I don't think it really matters how many titles you win or how you beat Barca to the Facebook 100. It's about always what's next and what's more and how do we push ourselves to be better. And I think it's been a really rewarding environment for us to be in as a support firm for Real Madrid.
Well, a huge thanks for coming on the show today. Like I said earlier, my football club is a club called Derby County, which you've probably never even heard of, Craig. But Rafa, Derby County did beat Real Madrid 4-1 back in 1975. It's probably the last chance we'll ever beat you as well. But this video is always shared over Facebook. This is the time that Derby County beat Real Madrid 4-1. But what they don't show you is the second leg where you came back and beat us 5-1 and kicked us out. So it didn't even have a happy ending. But I really do thank you for coming on today. It's a great story, and you really are leading the way in the digital transformation for sporting clubs and indeed other industries as well. I think could learn a lot from what you're doing. So thanks to both of you.
Thank you, Neil. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
I think we often hear about the digital transformation, but many struggle to understand how it will affect certain areas of our lives or even industries. For example, you don't automatically associate tech or social media with football or a football team. But the fact that 1.6 billion video views and 100 million fans on Facebook alone are mouth-watering figures that show how tech, social media and the global community are transforming everything. And that should be enough for everybody to take this digital transformation seriously and what they can actually do or accomplish with the correct digital strategy. The fact that Rebel Ventures are now also enjoying similar success with San Francisco 49ers, Chicago Bulls, Boston Red Sox and Liverpool FC over here too, all highlights just what a big deal this is.
Remember, you can listen and comment on today's episode over at www.techblogwriter.co.uk. You can also access every episode Neil has recorded and see pictures of the guests by going straight to www.techblogwriter.co.uk/category/podcast.
A huge thanks to my digital sidekick there, and an even bigger thank you to Craig, Rafa, and indeed to each of you listening today. I genuinely hope that you'll tune in again, and I look forward to speaking with you directly if you send me a tweet or email. But that's it for today, my friends, so until next time, don't be a stranger.
Thanks for listening to the Tech Blog Writer Podcast. Until next time, remember, technology is best when it brings people together.